Chavre, how are you? I hope everyone is gesund, stark, und freilich, begashmis und beruchnis. I hope everyone is healthy, strong, and happy physically and spiritually. Today is Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Lecha. Everyone knows the famous saying of the Rabbeim that Parshas Lecha is the emes of freiliche Parsha. Parshas Lecha is the truly joyous Parsha. Melet mit Avram Avinu jeden Tag. Here starts the story of the first Yid when jeden Tag lebt mit Avram Avinu. So, as the Rabbi used to always quote, Maisa Ovis Simon Labonim, every single detail in Torah is precise, especially when we talk about the Ovis. As Chassidus explains, the Ovis are only three, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, not like the Shvatim, because every single detail that we know about, that it says in the Torah about Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, is passed on to generation, Libneim, Achreim, Atzev, Kol Haderes. And we have to look at their ways and learn from them. And their qualities exist in us. So before we start, as usual, we'll start with a pasuk, a prayer. And this is what people who put on a talis, God will say every single day. After they put on the talis, Ma Yakor chaz decho Elohim, uvnei Adam betzel kenefecha yechsoyun. Hashem, how precious your kindness is, that people take cover in the shadow of your wings. They're protected. So, we spoke many times about how the Yiddish nation has immortality. Just like the Eibishter is Nitzchi, Am Yisrael is Nitzchi. We're not going to get into it now, but obviously the connection, the reason why Am Yisrael is Nitzchi is as verbunden, oben fällt man schon ab unten. If you're connected above, if you have a special connection, so just like Hashem is immortal, and we are chelik elikam imal mamish, so we have the special protection that Hashem is in us, so therefore we're also immortal. The Jewish nation will exist forever. And that's Pshat. Ma yokar chaz l'cholikim. How precious your kindness. The ultimate kindness is that the Eibishter chose Am Yisrael, and therefore their protection is a separate special protection. B'tzel kenefecha yechsoyin. So we're talking about a shield. And this is connected very much to our Parsha. And as we'll soon see, how it's connected to every single day in our davening, in the most important part of davening. But first, we'll look into the Parsha, and we'll talk about the beginning of the Parsha. Hashem says to Avram, Lech lecha me'artzecha me'ladcha me'beis avicha. You should go away el haaretz asher areka. Okay, everyone knows this is one of the Nishanis. Hashem tells him, drop everything and leave whatever you know about and go. He doesn't even tell him where to go, and that's the test. But the Eibishter promises him, Ve'escha l'goy godel, v'avarechecha, v'agadlo shmecha, v'heyei bracha. So here, the Eibishter is giving an amazing blessings and reward. I'll make you a star. I'll make you a superstar. Ich will dich machen für a godel. And no less. By some people in some circles, the ultimate dream is werden a godel. So v'escha l'goy godel, not only you become a godel, the whole nation will become gedelim. Gei godel, a goy from gedelim. V'agadlo shmecha, you'll be famous, you'll be great. So obviously Rashi explains, V'agadlo shmecha, your name will be bigger. Now it's Avram, then it will come Avram. But V'agadlo shmecha also means in the simple sense, you'll become renowned. And the question is, Avram Avinu is the symbol of serving Hashem Lishmah, not for reward. So why over here, in the story of the first Jew, in the first Pesukim, hand in hand, as we speak about him beginning his whole life, his journey and his relationship with Hashem, immediately we talk about reward. But wait, there's more. And there's a Sikh from the Rebbe in Chelik Chof, which talks about this question. But that Sikh is primarily on the words where it says later on in Lecha, Kapitel Tesvav, Achad Dvorim Meila, after the whole war with the kings. Hoyad var Hashem al Avram b'mechzer leimer al tira Avram. Don't be scared. Anochi magen lach. I am a shield for you. Schorcha harbe moed. Not only are you going to get rewarded, you're going to get very rewarded. Ma'oid. It's like, hello, you not only get $1 million, you're going to get $1 billion. Anyways, Rashi over here explains, according to Pshat, why did Hashem have to make him feel secure and confident in the reward over here? Because he thought after so many miracles happened to him, so maybe his account has become diminished. Shema kibalti schar al kol tzidkoisai. Maybe I received all the reward that I meant to receive, and therefore he's now going to be bankrupt, depleted funds. So therefore the Eibishter told him, no, you don't have to worry about it. Anyway, see Rashi. But again, the question is, Klotz Kasha. Of all the people that shouldn't be thinking about reward, it's Avram Avinu. As we know, the famous Rambam in Echos Tshuva, where the Rambam says, and he talks about serving the Eibishter out of love, true love. Is he doing it only for Hashem? And the Rambam's lashon is, Lo mipnei davar ba'olam. You're not serving the Eibishter for anything in the world. But Lech lidish hateva, and not in order to inherit, to receive goodness or good. Eloisa, famous lashon, Eloisa emes mipnei shu emes. He's doing the truth because the truth. Zuhi ma'ilak de'lameid. It's a very great level, and it's a very great quality. Vihi ma'ilus Avram Avinu. And this was the quality of Avram Avinu. So here, the Rambam, when he wants to say who is the symbol of this level, he mentions Avram Avinu. And here we see right at the beginning, from the get-go, at its inception, when we start talking about Avram Avinu's relationship with Hashem, what does the pasuk emphasize? How he's going to be rewarded. You know, it sounds like in today's generation, every person who's a senator or a congressman or I don't know what, or a governor, Kolshke and a president, everyone's worried about the legacy. They didn't even finish their term in office and it's already a legacy. Everybody's recording every word that they say, making a sneeze. Why? For the legacy, etc. It's so not the Inyan. Somebody who's serving Lamana Emes, he's not worried about the legacy. He doesn't need a wall named after him. He doesn't need a museum in his name. He's doing it because it's the right thing. As the Rambam says, Oisa emes, emes. And we also know when it comes to education, when you educate the child only because of reward and punishment, that means the child is a bit immature. But in the end of the day, you want him to do the right thing because it's the right thing. Now, in that concept of doing the right thing because it's the right thing, there are many levels. To say that we can reach a level we're only doing it because it's the right thing, that's already a very high level. But generally speaking, that should be the simple mindset. So in order to understand it, and by the way, just to bring out the point even stronger, there's a famous Hayom Yom, which we mentioned already many times, which I think is phenomenal. And that's the Hayom Yom in Ches Tishrei, where he speaks about Hatznei Leches and Hashem Lecha. One is meant to walk humbly with Hashem, and there the Rebbe brings down Yedua the Kama Mechsidim Rishonim Hoyu Mastirim Atzmam V'im is Galu Hoyu Mitztayirim. He says over here, as is well known, some early Chassidim would conceal their spiritual achievements and were distressed if they were revealed. So imagine you're talking to somebody who's a true Eved Hashem, and you tell him you're going to be rewarded. Your name is going to be in neon lights. You're going to make headlines. You're going to be known as number one. That's going to make you feel good. According to what the Rebbe writes in Hayom Yom over here, on the contrary, a person who's a humble person, and Avram Avinu is the one who said, "V'anechi ofa ve'efer," I am nothing but dust and ashes. So Avram represents humility. So now, the person who's the ultimate humility is told that what's going to be your reward? You're going to become world famous. That's going to make him feel good. That'll make him feel distressed. For him, that's painful. As he says over here, if people would find out about the greatness, they'd be in pain. So in general, we have to understand, number one, if the Rambam says that this is Avraham Avinu is the one who did it for the truth, how could we say over here that he was scared and he was worried? It doesn't gel, it doesn't fit. And second of all, why would that be good news for Avraham Avinu? He'd be pained by that, as we see in Ayemim. So in order to answer it, we can give an answer which the Rebbe speaks and Chassidus speaks in different areas. There's a couple of places where this concept is discussed, but we'll talk about it in the most famous example, which is prayer. So we have a famous question. What's prayer? There's the way, and again, we'll see as usual, how Chassidus takes a concept, and in the light of Chassidus, it gets a whole new profundity. When we speak about prayer, if we look at it al pinigla, I think we spoke about this already many times. If we look at it al pinigla, we say that when it comes to Shemoneh Esrei, we ask for Reifei Chilem Yisrael, Mevarech Hashanim. So we're talking about the physical needs that we have, and we ask Hashem to take care of those physical needs. So if we look at al pinigla, why do we come to ask for our physical needs at the climax of prayer? Because the truth is, one definition of prayer is bakoshes tzrachav. It's the idea that you know that God is running the show, and God is the only power, and God is the only one. Hashem is the only one that has the power to make a difference. Not like Rahman al-Islam, we could have, in a secular example, the doctor comes out of the surgery and he tells the family, now the only thing that's left to do is pray. Rahman al-Islam, you don't pray when there's nothing left to do. Adarabah. You're praying and you're davening when there's everything left to do. Because the whole Hatzlacha is totally in the Eibishter. And therefore you pray first. So al derech zeh davening. Davening is bakoshes tzrachav. What's the point of bakoshes tzrachav? To realize that the Eibishter deinske koyach. And deinske reshus. There is only Hashem. And everything else is just to make a keli, kegazim b'yad ha'chaytzev, v'chulu v'chulu. And since that's the whole point of davening, to realize that the Eibishter is the einzige balabos, führt die Welt, und not allein, that's why we could say it by the climax of davening, because that's the whole point. What took so long to get the Shemoneh Esrei? So that it's brought down all over. That first you have to mishaber the Eibishter, just like when you go over to a king, a melubas of Adam, and you want the melubas of Adam to do something for you. So first you make the melubas of Adam feel good. You tell him you're amazing, you're special, okay, la God, la gibe v'aneira, etc., etc. After you come to the king, and you mishaber the king, so then you say, b'shus the king, could you please help me with this thing? This is what I need. So therefore the whole davening, till Shemoneh Esrei, is being mishaber the king. Then we come to Shemoneh Esrei and we ask what we want. And that's the whole point of davening, bakoshes tzrachav. Comes along Chassidus and says a whole new dimension, Lecha, which is that davening, tefillah, is miloshen atefel klicheres. When there's a crack, when there's a chip in a klicheres, and a piece is a bit detached, or there's a crack, so now we want to reattach that crack, that there shouldn't be a crack. So hatefel klicheres means that it becomes attached whole again. So what does tefillah mean? Attachment. As wenn wir daven zu dem Eibishten, wird man behaften mit dem Eibishten. Und durch Davenen ist das Sula Mutze wart, so Reiche Magia Shemaima, durch Davenen, der Griechen, der höchste Madreges von dem Eibishten, bis till you come to Shemoneh Esrei, ponim el ponim. And Tachlis Abittel, when you come to Shemoneh Esrei, sagt man Hashem svasai tiftach, ufi yagetil esecha. That you can't even make a twitch, you can't even make a false move. Hashem svasai tiftach. Eibishter, you are the one who's going to speak through me because I'm bechlal batel m'tzias l'gamri. So then the shaila vet, according to this beer, was is davening? Davening is the name from atefel klicheres. You're becoming attached to the Eibishter, and it's about bonding and cleaving, etc., and unification and communication. It's all a spiritual exercise. So how is it, and especially the way we learn in Chassidus and Kabbalah, that there's the levels. We are blasting off from Elam Maza, Elam Moasiyah, then we reach Elam HaYetzirah, then we reach Elam HaBriyah, then we reach Atzilus. Okay, that till Yishtabach, till Birchas Kishma, we went from Asiya and Yitzira. Birchas Kishma is Bria, and Bism come to Shemina Esrei, which is Atzilus. According to the Kabbalistic interpretation of Chassidus of what prayer is, so then the question becomes even stronger. How is it that punct when we hear Atzilus, that's when we ask for the physical needs? We forgot about we left planet Earth a long time ago. Why are we talking about Reifachil Am Yisrael and Mevarach Hashanim? We're now connected to levels in Elikus, Esesvidus, Atzmus Amalus, Elov Elolim Mideisav, etc. So one answer, which is a Meidic answer, is that when we're asking for the physical needs, when we reach Shemina Esrei, then we see all the physical needs as something spiritual. Yiddishkeit Gashmis is Ruchnis. For a Yid, why does he want the physical? Only for the Eibishter's sake. Why? Either because he needs more physical to be able to do more mitzvahs in the physical world, more money, more tzedakah. That's Mevarach Hashanim. Or like it's brought down the kavanah, that the matzahs are sein good, the esrog are sein good, the vines are sein good, fakidish. So it's all about, he sees the physical world as an expression of godliness, and how he could channel physical to spiritual, elevating sparks, as we'll soon see, sparks of divinity, sparks of godliness, the nitzutzas. Or by more gashmis being connected to Am Yisrael, it'll show how doing the right thing, this is what we're going to talk about today primarily, good is on every level. Good doesn't, if something is ultimate good, it's not only good in the spiritual realm, it's good also in the physical realm. In other words, Liman cho elikeinu, I say, for your benefit, Hashem. If people will see that those that are Shemei Torah mitzvahs have a better life, then that'll make the stock, the company will become better. More people will recognize this ultimate truth. And so on. So in other words, according to Chassidus, by the time we come to Shemina Esrei, and we're asking for Gashmius, if it's not Gashmius l'shem Gashmius, it's not Gashmius as something which is separate and detached from Elikus. No, it's Gashmius, weil der Eibishter is Alts, und Alts is der Eibishter. Eichet Gashmius is der Eibishter. Eineid Melvadoi. Now the same thing is true over here. When we speak about schar, okay, 1 second. By the way, we once mentioned before a Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, a famous Torah, which it's sometimes quoted slightly differently, but the point is the same anyways. On the pasuk where it says Re'evim gam tzemeim, nafsham behem tesatef, which means that there was hunger and there was thirst. Nafsham behem tesatef means that their nefesh wanted it. So the Baal Shem Tov said an amazing word. The Baal Shem Tov said that when you see a person who's very hungry and thirsty for physical food, that's only the way it seems externally and physically on the outside, that it's a physical hunger and a physical thirst. But in reality, it's really coming from the person's neshama. The nefesh elikis wants to elevate the divine spark, the nitzutz, which is in that apple, and therefore you're very hungry for the apple. So you think you're hungry for the apple because you're hungry, and it's a physical need, a physical desire. The truth is no. That desire is coming from your nefesh elikis, because the nefesh elikis wants to elevate the spark that's in that apple, to channel that apple and to show and to reveal how that apple brings you closer to the Eibishter. Now, in the same thing in this Sikh in Chiluk Chaf, the Rebbe says a Meidic word similar. The Rebbe says we say Le'olam Yasik, a person should occupy himself with Torah Shalei Lishmah, u'mitoich Shalei Lishmah Bo Lishmah. The person should first do things for the wrong reasons, not for the pure reasons. Shalei Lishmah, which means not thinking only about Hashem, but also for your own personal benefit. Because mitoich Shalei Lishmah, the simple meaning is, because you start a kid, like you educate a child, first you give him a reward, I'll give you a bicycle, I'll give you a camera, I'll give you a phone, I'll give you a car, whatever it is. And when he gets older, then he'll do it for the right reasons. The Rebbe says, if you look deep into the Shaloi Lishmah, what's the toich? What's the real inner content? What's behind the Shaloi Lishmah? What's the real motive over here? You think it's an ulterior motive that has nothing to do with Hashem. You should know, no, it's not true. Mitoich, the inner content of the ulterior motive, is the ultimate motive. And what's the ultimate motive? For Hashem. Liman cho elikeinu aseh. Why do you want the reward? You want reward because if those that keep the Torah mitzvah are rewarded, it'll accomplish Yiskadel v'Yiskadel Shmei Rabba. The Eibishter will become renowned. Because if you're with him, you're the winning team. Good is not only good on a spiritual level, ultimate goodness permeates also the physical level. And this we see it's going to happen when Mashiach comes. That if something is good, then the good has to permeate every level. And just like when it comes to Mashiach, it says, of course everyone's going to be billionaires, everyone's going to have whatever they need physically, but the physical will not have any value in itself as a physical thing. We're going to see the purpose of the physical. Like the Rambam says in the Savach Chomli Meisa Mashiach, the only reason why the Chachamim wanted the days to come of Mashiach was because then there will be no worries, absolutely no worries. Because all the physical concerns and needs and requirements, whatever will be important to have in order to serve Hashem with peace of mind, complete tranquility, will be accomplished. So in other words, we'll see then clearly how the physical will be channeled for Hashem. So in other words, what does that prove? If you want to see something, what's the story of ultimate goodness, ask yourself the question, what's going to happen when Mashiach comes? The answer is when Mashiach comes, it will be physical, and everybody will be rewarded in abundance. And the whole point of that reward in abundance is not for ourselves, because we want to have a fat bank account, etc., but in order that we should be able to concentrate and focus on serving God, and how everything becomes elevated, and it will be revealed that Eined Milvad, everything is for Hashem. So this is how the Rebbe answers the question over here, that the truth is, Avram Avinu is really like in the same level of Baal Shem Tov, the famous story that one day he was told, I'm not getting into the whole story why, but one day he was told he lost his whole Elam Haba. He lost his whole world to come, he lost his whole Gan Eden. And the Baal Shem Tov became overjoyed. Baruch Hashem! I'm so happy, now I'm finally serving Hashem, Lishmah. Now I know that I'm serving Hashem Lishmah, because there's nothing to look forward to, I'm not even getting rewarded. And then obviously he was told, no, you're going to get rewarded. So Avram Avinu is on the same level, the same idea. He's doing it only Lishmah, as the Rambam brings down in Hilchos Tshuva. And the Rambam is a Sefer Halacha, so that's the reality. So why is Hashem promising all these rewards? And what does it mean that Avram is worried about the reward? And the answer is, the Eibishter and Avram are on the same page. Adarabah, he anisenes. Because Avram has no existence for himself whatsoever. So when he's thinking in terms of glory, or when he's thinking in terms of greatness, it's that through him, Avram being rewarded, it has nothing to do with Avram. It's just that if Avram is rewarded, it'll be a bonus for the world, for Hashem. Everyone will see that those that are with Hashem have a better life, including Begashmis. And in that itself, like we said, there's one aspect, more Gashmis. A soldat muss sein gesund. When a soldier asks Hashem, a soldier of Hashem, to be healthy, why does he want to be healthy? So he could do his mission properly. I said this story before, I'm going to say it quickly. Somebody once wrote to the Rebbe that he was diagnosed by the doctor that he's weaker and he has to slow down and relax. And he asked the Rebbe, he notified the Rebbe, please excuse me that I won't be able to be active as I always was. And the Rebbe said, why are you writing me like this? Ask for a bracha to be as healthy as you were always before, to be able to continue doing your mission as you always did before. So this is what we're talking about. The person, a true Eved Hashem, somebody who's truly nullified, his whole purpose in life is to serve Hashem, and whatever rewards are going on in the physical sense is so he should be able to serve. A soldier has to be healthy. So why is he asking for health? To be able to go on a holiday. He's asking for health to be a better soldier. So it's all channeled for Hashem. That's one aspect. And there's also, like we said, it's good for the company. Yiskadol v'yiskadol shmei Rabba. If those that follow Hashem's ways have a good physical life, then that's the best thing for Hashem's sake. It means that more people will see the ultimate goodness in truth. Because ultimate goodness is Aleph Mem Sof. It has to permeate every level, the spiritual and the physical. So that answers all the questions. And that's how the Rebbe explains it. Now, the takeaway and the outcome of this, I think, is very important these days. You know, there's a lot of discussions about God needs you, you need God. Don't tell anybody. Some educators are walking around saying, you know, don't tell anybody that they need God. God needs them. And I think in a way it's wrong. And you know why it's wrong? I think, in my humble opinion, it's because it's simply not true. Just like it's a two-way street. As the famous Torah of the Maggid, Shtei Chatzoi Tzuris. There's two halves. The Eibishter is incomplete without Bnei Yisrael, Rachmana litzlan. Kaviyachol. The Eibishter is incomplete without Bnei Yisrael, Kaviyachol. And we are incomplete without the Eibishter. And we need Hashem. Why? Because that's the truth. And just like any healthy person psychologically will say that a person is searching for meaning. You're going to say, don't tell that to the person because he's not searching for meaning. What do you mean? He is really searching for meaning. And that's a need that he has. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's what makes him human. That he cares. And he thinks. And he questions. And therefore, ultimately, if he's not going to get that answer of meaning and purpose, he's going to be unhappy. And I believe very, very much that this was the Rebbe's approach. Just like in the Sikh over here, he speaks about the B'taich Shalei Lishmah Bo Lishmah. And we see at the beginning, from get, go, Yiddishkeit. Straight, hand in hand. Where Hashem tells Avram, Lech Lecha Me'atzcha. What comes right after that? Ve'eschol L'gei Godel. V'agad L'shmecha. So, on the lowest level, we have to realize it's not just a simple, Gashmizdika thing. It's also a Nafshizdika thing. Yiddishkeit is who you are. And b'meile, your Simcha in Yiddishkeit is a Simcha P'kudei Havai Yeshorim Samchei Lev. Doing the right thing feels good. Doing the right thing will make you happy. Doing the right thing on a very basic level, that's the reward. You'll be happy. And you'll be also happy because you're connected with your tribe, with who you are. You're in touch with your essence. That's who you are. Just like when I go over to a person and tell him you're male. It's going to be a shayla now. You think he cares if he's male? No, because he doesn't care that he's male. You're not going to tell him that he's male. That's the truth. So therefore we have to say the truth. That's the real truth. The real truth is we need Hashem and Hashem needs us. And it goes hand in hand. And the Rebbe's derech in our generation in particular is we have to realize that but part of Shmiras HaTorah Mitzvahs is because it's the best way, b'teiv anireh v'nigla. And that's what has to be the approach today, b'frat. Whether it's Miteich Shalei Lishmah, because in the simple level, on the lowest level, it's good for you. Also dying good, Pashas the Pashtas, or whether you could take it from there deeper and deeper. Psychologically, it's going to be good. Just like a child who wants his parents to love him. And the one who wants his parents to love him is the healthier child. And when he knows that he's good with his parents, and he's being nachas to his parents, that brings him nachas. Etc., etc., etc. So we see from the Sikha, check it out yourselves, the word of mitoich, Shalei Lishmah Bo Lishmah, it can go higher and higher, deeper and deeper, more and more levels. And by Avram Avinu, it was the ultimate. He did a emes l'man emes. And so too in our Avodas Hashem, we can start from the mitoich Shalei Lishmah, and then Bo Lishmah, That's Pshat Chinuch. We go higher and higher and higher until it's only all about Hashem, and every day it becomes more and more Hashem than it was yesterday. So the Rebbe shall help that we should do what we have to do, and the Rebbe will do what he has to do. Take it Miad Mamish and bring the Gula Mitzvah Shlema. Posting from my home, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, your man in Melbourne.